But first, a word from FanDuel. It's playoff time in the NBA and NHL. Baseball's in full swing, and FanDuel is your place to bet on every single game. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets guaranteed. That's $150, win or lose. You can bet on everything from slap shots to home runs and slam dunks, all on an app that is safe, secure, and easy to use. So what are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com/UCSS and make your first bet an automatic win. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. And I want to start this out by saying, Bull, the Bengals really need to start using FanDuel and winning some money because that poverty franchise can't afford any of their players right now. Trey Hendrickson wants out. T. Higgins wants out. They're requesting trades because they can't get paid.
Neither one of them wants out.
They can't afford to keep their best players, Bull. Joe Burrow's going to ask for a trade. It has to be released any day now. Bull, this is your platform. You can defend yourself, but how are you going to defend the poverty-ridden Cincinnati Bengals?
All right. That's not accurate. They're actually in terms of cap space, they're like 10th. So this team's a lot more cap space. That's funny. That's very funny. I have never been a Mike Brown fan. I have always disliked him as an owner. I think he's a bad owner. Now, his daughter has taken over, and I think she's done a better job than he did. She spends more than he does. And the Bengals, if you look at free agency the last few years, they've spent a lot of money. I think in free agency, they're top 10 in spending over the last 3-4 years.
Didn't they just sign the tackle?
Yeah, they signed Trent Brown.
That's who it is.
But, yes, the Bengals don't spend like the Browns do. Bizarrely, nobody spends like the Browns do. It's just crazy. But good. That's great for the Browns.
Well, that's what happens when you can roll over cap space for 15 years.
Right, exactly. But the pure joy from the Nick Carnes of the world yesterday was a little disturbing.
I don't know who that is.
Yeah, he's just some guy on Twitter who just, he's weird.
We like Nick.
He was spelunking a little too much. This idea that the Bengals are a disaster because Trey Hendrickson and T. Higgins want to get paid, the Bengals don't trade players that ask for a trade. The only player they've ever traded that asked for a trade was Carson Palmer. And that's because Carson Palmer actually sat out. Trey Hendrickson's agent claimed that first of all, he just signed an extension last year.
Poverty.
And Trey Hendrickson's agent said that he might retire rather than play on his current contract.
Does
anybody believe that?
That's not happening.
Nobody believes that. I actually think, I think they'll probably work it out with Hendrickson. T. Higgins is going to play one more year and then he's going to walk. That's it. But they're both going to be on the team this year. And the bottom line is, as long as they have Burrow and to a little lesser degree Chase, I'm not that worried.
I mean, I look at it like...
I wish the Bengals spent more. Of course I wish they spent like the Browns do and signed all these guys. I'd love them to sign Higgins to an extension. But T. Higgins is a good player. He's not a great player. And they could live without him eventually. And they will after next year.
At the end of the day, this season is a all-in season.
Yeah, they're not trading either of those guys.
Neither one
silly.
of them. They getting Trey Hendrickson is getting the great Greg Popovich. Go sit on over there until we got you under contract for 2 years.
Yeah.
We ain't trading you.
That's right.
You're either going to play or you're going to sit on that bench right there. So that's that. But as far as the poverty, they're going to have to do something. They're going to have to spend some money at some point.
You can't say poverty when they just paid Joe Burrow one of the biggest contracts in the history of the sport.
I can and I will.
Now, if they don't, I will say this. If they don't sign Chase, I'm
going to tell you right now. If they don't sign Jamar Chase, Joe Burrow is going to ask for the trade.
That is correct.
He will sit out.
That is correct. But Joe understands. He's like, okay, I'm fine with T. Higgins. You better sign Chase.
Yeah.
They just need to sell the naming rights again. I told it can be Paycor Stadium at Rena Center.
Yeah.
Supplied by
brought
Nationwide. Yeah. Just put seven names across the stadium.
And the Trey Hendrickson thing, like I said, they're going to sit. Listen, Trey.
They'll figure that
This is what
out.
we're going to do. We're going to give you $2 or $3 more million a year on your deal.
Yeah.
You good.
Can they sell the field?
He'll be like, all right, bet.
Enterprise Field at Paycor Stadium.
Yeah.
How don't they got
Brought to you by
How don't he got the money?
Skyline Chili.
Yeah, right?
How don't he got money?
Because it's funny.
They're like the Dolan.
The Browns are like the Dolan.
Oh, he got it. He just ain't going to spend
Their only business is the team.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah.
Same as Jimmy Haslam had other businesses.
It's the mom and pop shops trying to compete against.
Jimmy got his money from sucking on daddy's teeth.
Well, they need to be on like some Jerry Jones stuff. When I was with Dallas, you seen tours being given out at the facility. He had people coming through. You pay whatever it is, and you get a tour, and you might run into Zeke. Right. You might run into Dak. Like
Zeke looks like he's going back to Dallas.
Yeah, I talked to
Dallas
Zeke.
hasn't done anything.
I talked to Zeke like 2 weeks ago about
he's going back to Dallas?
We'll talk to you about it off the air. No, Zeke said he wouldn't mind. He would love to go back to Dallas, but
that's
we'll see. We'll see.
So the bottom line is, do I like the Bengals ownership? No. Do I wish they would spend as much as Jimmy Haslam? Yes. Am I worried? No. As long as they have Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase, then I'm fine. I don't want to lose Trey Hendrickson. I've already realized they're going to lose T. Higgins. I can live with that. The Bengals have done a good job finding wide receivers.
I saw something yesterday on Twitter actually about this. About some people are taking victory laps like over the Deshaun contract and see it's not that bad.
That's embarrassing.
That has
Who
nothing,
said that?
I can't remember.
Random dopes on Twitter.
But like the Deshaun contract and the Bengals have not. Joe Burrow's cap hit is, I don't know. My guess would be half. It's probably half of Deshaun's this year.
Why would it be half, even when the total money is similar?
I bet you it's half.
Yeah? I don't know what
his cap
it is.
hits, according to Over the Cap, this season, $29.7 million.
Yeah. Deshaun's is 64.
Next season, 46.25.
Still way lower.
By the way,
2026, 28.25.
It's not a cap issue with the Bengals. It's a cheap
52.25.
issue with the Bengals.
they have certain guys they pay, and that's it.
Yeah, one. Maybe two.
I think they'll pay Chase.
Well, that's the maybe two.
If they don't pay Chase, I'm telling you right
Jason,
now.
The point is, they have a philosophy. They rarely deviate from it.
And that's why they've been horrendous for decades.
Well, fair.
And on top of all of this.
But they haven't been.
Hey, the Browns have too. Like the Browns' philosophy is ready, fire, aim.
For the most part, since Marvin Lewis, they've had more good seasons than bad.
Yeah.
They were awful in the 90s, and then even in the 80s they were good with Boomer. And in the 70s they were good. The Bengals, outside of the 90s and early 2000s, have been a decent franchise.
Oh, my goodness.
And by the way,
you need to cut it out.
The ready, fire, aim is pre-Andrew and Kevin. I don't need to get in trouble with any more teams.
Ready, fire, aim?
Ready, fire, aim.
I don't remember that.
I just said the Browns' philosophy has been ready, fire, aim.
Oh, I see. Yeah,
but I think they do have it right. So
yes, I am. Yes, as a fan, am I bothered that they don't spend like Jimmy? Of course I'm bothered.
Yeah.
Oh, my
But
goodness.
I don't think they would not have signed T. Higgins to a massive extension even if they hadn't signed Burrow.
T. Higgins is at his own fault for why they don't want to pay him this money.
He had a bad year.
If he would have started off and just tore it up like he was supposed to,
they still wouldn't have paid him.
They would have been more inclined.
But
and then on top of that, even if they didn't pay him, it would have made another franchise be inclined.
I'm inclined to continue working out and losing weight, but look at me.
Hey,
ain't done it yet.
T. Higgins is a hell of a player.
So if he had a monster year and they franchise tagged him, you don't think that somebody would have been like, "I give you my first round pick for him"?
I still think it's possible somebody might, and maybe they would consider.
What's
But
the money on the franchise?
I just don't think they're going to trade
the money at the wide.
It's like $22 million.
Let me ask you guys this.
Well, they do the deal. They trade them and then make the deal.
I want to ask you guys this.
Yeah.
Bull, you don't seem to believe. Steve Becker just asked if we want Nick Carnes on the show.
No, Nick's a nice guy, but no.
We like Nick. For the sake of this, and I'm going to ask a question.
Yeah.
Bull, you don't seem concerned that Hendrickson and/or Higgins will not be on the Bengals. They make a trade, one thing, but they're not going to just trade them for nothing. Do you still look at the Bengals from the Browns' perspective? Are the Bengals still a big of a threat today as they were 2 days ago before these trade requests?
Of course. Why wouldn't they be?
Because the poverty franchise is falling apart.
The trade requests are
foundation.
meaningless. You think guys are not going to play hard because they wanted to be? And it's not like they want to be traded like Deshaun Watson wanted to be traded because he was unhappy in Houston. These guys only want to be traded because the Bengals aren't meeting their contract demands. That's a big difference. And listen, it's not great. I don't love it. And I don't love that. I would figure it out with Hendrickson. And in a perfect world, I'd love them to sign Higgins too. But and if they don't sign Chase, I'll lose my freaking mind and kill him. But I don't know. I can't get worked up about it. They have Joe Burrow. If Joe Burrow until last year had been the second best quarterback in the league, if he's back to that again this year, then they're fine. If he's not, then they won't be fine.
Re-sign Chase?
What's that?
How confident are you they'll re-sign Chase?
They better.
I feel pretty confident.
When's
in that.
he up? What's his contract?
They just picked up his 5th-year option.
Yeah, this is his 4th year.
Yeah.
They better.
If they don't, Bull, you should get poverty tattooed on your arm.
No, I'm not getting poverty tattooed on my arm. I'm not defending the owners, Mike. You're not listening.
What
to
is?
me.
I'm just busting.
Hendrickson, when he got traded from the Saints.
No, they signed him as a free agent. Yeah.
Did he? Was it a big deal?
It was like 4 years, $40 million.
So he
hadn't been that. He only had one good year with the Saints.
And then when he signed the extension, it's 15.
They added 1 year. They added 1 year at $15 million. Last year they added.
I can see why he's upset a little bit.
But like why he
shouldn't have signed. He shouldn't have signed it last year.
Why did he sign that?
He should have.
And now he had his best year. This was his best year.
He's clearly outplayed his contract.
Yes.
I would like to say you signed the contract, stand by it. But teams go back. I mean, look what they just did to Nick Chubb. Teams go back all the time.
Sure. I'm not mad at Trey Hendrickson. I get it. If I were him, I'd want more money too.
Yeah. He outplayed that contract easily.
And the Bengals should pay him. But listen, I get frustrated, by the way, but I can't. I used to be much more critical of the Bengals because until 3-4 years ago, they never spent in free agency. And to be fair to them and fair to ownership, since Mike Brown's daughter took over operations, they have been better at spending. They've gone from a pauper franchise to a poor franchise.
Where did they rank in that player
low
evaluation of facilities? Low. Get low.
Their practice facility is like under an overpass.
They just got an in. Didn't they just get an indoor?
I think yes, but I don't think it's great.
Took this long.
Yeah,
I wonder if it's a full 100 yards.
They run it like a mom and pop shop. Trust me, I don't like it, but it is what it is. What am I going to do?
They're not selling the team.
But the bottom line is, as long as they have Burrow, they're going to be in the mix.
Well, we'll see how long that lasts.
But on that vein too, Joe's got to bounce back because he did not have a good year.
Technically,
he didn't have a good year.
They don't have to pay Jamar for 2 more years.
They got to pay it. They got to pay him by next year. You don't want to go into. I mean, they don't have to. Really, they can control him for more than that because they can franchise him. But they got to sign him. They should sign him now. They should offer. I mean, Amon Ra got what? 120 for 4.
A lot of money. It was something like that.
You got to pay. That means you got to pay Chase what? $40 million a year, 35, and maybe they won't do it. Maybe the number's going to be cut. And I'd love to say that if they don't sign Chase, I'll stop rooting for the Bengals, but you can't do that.
If they have to pay Jamar Chase $35-40 million, they aren't saying they're not signing him. You think they're going to pay him?
It was 4 years, 120. You're correct. 77 games.
They're going to have to.
I'll tell you right now.
Then the franchise might as well fold if they don't.
Then Detroit turned around and paid
if they let Chase go, Joe Burrow will won't be out.
They're going to have to sell a kidney to pay
What is the point of signing Burrow? Like if you have the money to sign Burrow, if you're not going to sign anybody else,
because the quarterback's most important spot.
I know that.
If he's
Jason,
that good, he can make everybody else around him better.
Jamar Chase,
of course
you can't
they
let him
should
walk out the door.
I will be shocked if they sign him. Shocked.
Yeah,
Did they sign Chase?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
But
you know what to tell you? What they do with this first round pick this year?
Jason, I think you're unfairly ignoring the fact that they have spent significantly more in the last few years than they ever had.
What's Joe making?
20.
His year by year is total.
What's Joe making in 3 years?
This year, if you do the math, the salary's $11 million. Then he got another 20 in bonuses of 30. Next season, the salary jumps to 25 plus 21 in bonuses, so 50, between 50 and 60 million.
You think they're going to spend $90 million on 2 players?
They better. That's all I'll say.
I will believe it when I see it. I don't believe there's any chance they're spending $90 million on 2 players. They've spent they haven't spent that.
Yes, but until 4 or 5 years ago, they never spent ever on anybody, and now they have. They have spent a ton in free agency, And to me, that signals a difference. Now, you may be right. Traditionally, they wouldn't.
Yeah.
I thought that when they've spent the free agency and paid Burrow, that this was a changing of the guard. I still didn't expect them to sign Higgins. I knew they weren't going to sign Higgins. But when you're talking about Chase, who's the best of the best, they have to sign him. If they don't, I'll lose my mind. I'll scream and yell like a lunatic.
Them spending $90 million on 2 players would be like the Guardians signing a free agent for $150 million, $180 million, $200 million. It'd be the same thing.
They spent almost that on Jose.
That's why I kept upping the number, because I thought of it. It would be like them signing Aaron
Now,
Judge.
football, there's more money. Salary cap is higher.
Yeah, I know.
I got an NFL question.
They got the money.
I got an NFL question for McNuggets. How do you feel about Drake May?
I like Caleb Williams. I don't like any other quarterbacks in this draft.
Well,
I'm with Mikey.
I just seen.
I don't even know if I like
No,
Caleb
because
Williams. I don't know if
Bleacher
anybody.
Report just sent me a thing saying that the Giants looking to trade up to get May. So I wanted to know how he felt.
Don't believe any of that stuff. It's
just-
all nonsense.
It's a hypothetical.
I know, but all these rumors, it's all not. It's 7 hours away, 7.5 hours. Draft starts.
I know.
I'm excited about the draft.
I could care less. Could not care less.
That's right.